11 o'clock this Monday. Thank you for joining us on Midday. I'm Mark Ischuk, and maybe you were woken up by those storms that hit North Texas early Sunday morning, just part of a series of storms across the country over the weekend, including just hours away from us in Oklahoma. Here's drone video showing neighborhoods and houses flattened and destroyed. The National Weather Service confirming winds hitting up to 165 miles an hour. Cleanup efforts underway right now. And in North Texas, homes in Everman hit by flash flooding early yesterday morning. Some residents had to evacuate to a nearby civic center, and now they are starting to pick up the pieces after those rounds of storms. On top of all the weekend weather, this morning North Texas waking up to a blanket of fog. And the good news is that most of that is rolled out as we are back to a sunny start to your Monday. Want to get over to Greg Fields this morning because Greg, has been quite a roller coaster over the past few days. It is spring in Texas.
Yeah, it is spring in Texas, and we'll talk more about those storms later this week. They do return, but yeah, you mentioned the fog. It was thick across the area here this morning. Still is, or has been in some areas there, as we still hadn't made it toward afternoon yet, but we're headed there, and that visibility getting a lot better out there as well. As we take you out to the UNT campus, looks a lot better there than it did earlier this morning, as we have 67 degrees out there for you right now, but there's still some fog kind of hanging in a little bit, but a lot brighter there. Taking you out to Cedar Hill, you had the low clouds, couldn't even see Joe Pool Lake a little bit earlier this morning, so the fog starting to thin out and dissipate across the area. That trend will continue as well. So 70 degrees taking you out to Cedar Hill. You see the visibility still 1 mile heading out to Denton, but it has greatly improved elsewhere across the area, so this trend will continue here as we head toward midday, getting on into the afternoon. And those temperatures with the sunshine breaking out, they'll start to warm up as well. Already back up to 73 in Richardson, 75 coming over to Dallas right now, and 68 getting out to Fort Worth. So the rest of your day, here's that planner for you. Not going to be a bad one at all. Winds very light out of the east to southeast as we head into this evening. So we'll be in the mid 70s as we head toward midday, somewhere in the low, maybe even some mid 80s out there for us later on today. So we'll keep it rain and storm free for the most part tomorrow as well. But mid to late week, more storms to talk about. So we'll detail that for you coming up a little bit later. But now, Mark, back to you.
All right. Thank you, Greg. And as we mentioned earlier, they are still dealing with the aftermath just 2 hours north of here after that tornado left a path of destruction in Sulphur, Oklahoma. Images showing houses ripped off their lots, the debris making them practically unrecognizable. That deadly storm taking its toll. At last check, 4 people have died. I want to check in with Marielle Ruiz, who is on the scene in Sulphur. And Marielle, when we heard from you this morning on Daybreak, you said that you have seen devastation before, but none of it compared to what you're seeing on the ground today.
Mark, unfortunately, the worst that I've seen as far as tornado damage goes. And you did mention that 4 fatalities with the tornado outbreak from this weekend. One of them about half a mile from where I'm standing in heavy hit downtown Sulphur, Oklahoma, where we were this morning. But now I'm in one of the neighborhoods, also heavy hit. And this neighborhood, I mean, just within the last 30 minutes, crews have started showing up for the pickup. But I want to show you just some of the scenes. You can see tree limbs, they're being loaded up. A lot of crews starting to show up, not only picking up what's left of homes, but also just the debris as far as trees goes, because like I'm standing right here next to a snapped tree. I mean, it was snapped clear in half. Very strong wind speeds. National Weather Service preliminary survey shows an EF3, that's wind speeds up to 165 miles per hour. But I want to show you more. This is a house that has been really just hit hard, but this right here is a slab. That is what's left of a home. It was completely taken off of the slab. There's nothing left of it. Destruction continues into their yard and into their neighbor's yard behind them. So this is unrecognizable. I'm going to also walk over here because I wanted to show you something. There's a tree over here, and this tree, you can see a lot of stuff just hanging from it. That's actually insulation from a nearby house whose roof was completely torn off. And that tree now sideways because it was tumbled over. You can actually see some of the roots that have been uprooted, and this tree from those high wind speeds as that tornado came through. I'm going to step in here. We do have permission from the owner of this house, by the way, to be here. So you can see how deep the roots from this tree. This is a healthy tree, and it was completely just ripped out. The tree now done, and the insulation just hanging like it as if it was to be adorned. You can see metal kind of wrapped around it as well. There is a shed in the back that's completely just down. And this house, we met the owner of this house, just absolutely devastating. Luckily, he wasn't home, his wife wasn't home, his kids were not home. His pets were home, but they were able to get out safely thanks to a neighbor. But now crews have showed up. They're starting to clean up the home. They're starting to take out and salvage what they can. But the good news, like I said, is that his people were safe. Here's what he had to say when we spoke to him yesterday.
It's awful. You can't change it. And that's what's holding us together, is that that's not us. That we're not digging through rubble for somebody. We're digging through rubble for things. And that's how we have to look at it.
And the house, I mean, completely destroyed, especially the roof. There is a deck where you see that the second story there's a door that's opened. It has some insulation there. That's where a deck once lived. That's completely gone. The family is just happy that they are safe. They do have a GoFundMe, and you can find that on WFAA.com. Now, not the only severe weather that the country has seen, flooding also in Everman. Richard Solomon is there this morning.
Yeah, that's exactly right. Flooding is something that people in this area of Everman worry about every single time it rains. Right now, we're standing along South Race Street in Everman. Everman is just about a couple minutes south of Fort Worth, and this is one of the areas that flooded. We know that just by how this grass looks. You can see how it was pushed by the water as it receded back into this creek, which is a problem area for people who live in this area. We'll get to that in just a few minutes or so. But because of the flooding, the American Red Cross will be out today just making sure people have the things that they need. Now, I want you to take a look at this video. This was a street yesterday. You can see a car submerged in the water. Today, the Red Cross will be out handing emergency supplies like gloves and cleaning items to folks, and they're still looking at how many homes were damaged. Now, in this neighborhood near Christie Avenue, several families were trying to dry out their homes and their cars. The water destroyed everything from furniture, pictures, you name it. Folks say a lot of the flooding is caused in this area by Chambers Creek, which I just showed you, and it sits behind several homes, including Melody Phillips' mother's home. Take a listen.
My mom is in the hospital, and when she heard that, all her vitals started spiking, and her biggest thing is that she always says when she sees clouds in the sky, living in Everman, she gets scared.
Now, the Red Cross did set up a shelter, and they tell me that will close today at noon, but we are expected to get more storms later on this week, and they say if something else happens, they'll be quick to set back up another shelter for folks. For now, in Everman this morning, I'm Richard Solomon. Back to you in studio.
Yeah, thank you for that, Richard. And this is a great time to remind you to stay weather aware, especially this time of year. You can do so through the WFAA app, which will send you personalized alerts for any storms moving into your neighborhood. You can also watch live radar, and it is free to download in your app store.